I feel like there was growth that you could tangibly see from this team since they started the OTAs. What was it, 3 weeks ago, when we got to start watching them, into how they looked over this mini camp. I felt like even Ben Johnson, I appreciate when he makes them start over. I appreciate when he demands more effort. I loved when Cole Kmet said he's obsessed with the details. Well, yes, please, right? Like that's
Yeah.
where it has been lacking. And I felt like we also are getting to know this team a little bit better. And I was telling Jack, like, when it was Wednesday when Jaquan Brisker came up and Tyreek Stevenson and Jervon Dexter, and to me, these are very young guys, right? And yet when they spoke, I felt like they were growing up. You could see
Yeah.
them maturing
Yep.
like right before
Yep.
us. And I thought that was so cool because that's what you want, is they feel more comfortable in their skin, in who they are, and what's being asked of them, in feeling like they're being set up for success. There isn't that little bit of hesitation that I feel like we felt from them before, right? Like they were all very honest and themselves. And I just felt like for that 20, like early 20s group, they're really growing up. And I think that is
Well,
valuable to this team.
let's also not forget it's 2025, and what we have seen are athletes who are used to doing everything on Zoom, and they
Oh,
do
right.
a lot of screen time. And these are the athletes who got the extra years of eligibility because of the pandemic. There was not reporters, so for some of them, they didn't have football for an entire season.
Right.
Um, so I had the exact same feeling watching these guys. They are maturing.
Mm-hmm.
They are comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Before, the rookies acted like rookies and behind the microphone, and now you see these guys are very comfortable. One of the things that we keep hearing over and over and over is Ben Johnson's attention to details.
Uh-huh.
And I thought that when Cole Kmet brought that up, and then Grady Jarrett brought it up about Dennis Allen, and it's all about the details. And every single player has mentioned the details.
Mm-hmm.
But what exactly does that mean? I thought that let's listen to Tyson Bagent's response about Ben Johnson, and what does it really mean that he really pays attention to the details?
I like how thorough he is. I think that he can go down the rabbit hole of every situation in football with every position in football, which I think has been most impressive. Usually you get an offensive minded guy or a defensive minded guy at the helm of the team. And I think obviously he is an offensive guy, but you can kind of see him going down the rabbit hole with the defense and team meanings of, what he's expecting on the defensive side of the ball. And really the most impressive thing is when he does that, he speaks that same language that the defense is speaking. So that's been what I've noticed with the O-line. He can, he's about as good of a position coach as every position coach that's on our team. So I think that'll do wonders for us going down the line, just because it's very crystal clear the expectations at every position.
That is amazing.
Amazing.
That is a
Amazing.
great soundbite to when people are like, well, what does it mean? The
What's the
attention to
difference?
detail. Stop, do this again. Stop,
Right.
do this again. The fact that he just said every position, he's the best tight ends coach, the best linebackers coach, he's the best wide receivers coach, he's the best offensive line coach, he's the best defensive backs coach. He knows what everyone should be doing at all
Yes.
times and can
Yes.
actually take you down. What is the defense thinking here? That's why you're doing this. Why are we doing this on offense? Because this is what we want to see happen. I thought, wow, that was the best soundbite.
Uh-huh.
And there was some really good sound this week. That was really, really good.
That was really, really good and very telling. I am such a Tyson Bagent fan. I love his authenticity. He is who he is, and he doesn't care what anyone thinks about it, and I love that. He works incredibly hard. We are in a generation where effort is not always pointed out. Just genuinely works hard and wants to work hard. And for him to even say that that's what he's noticed about how Ben Johnson works and thinks too, like that's something that's how he operates. And I think that that's an amazing connection for him to have. And for him to say that Ben Johnson is able to speak the same language as the defense, when's the last time you heard that about any coach with the Bears, whether it was Matt Eberflus or Matt Nagy or whoever of the last however many years, that they were, a defensive-minded coach and an offensive-minded coach, that they were actually able to speak the language of the other position groups on both sides of the ball. That is very telling to me. That to me feels that is a difference. That is a marked difference about who is leading this team.
The other thing that Tyson Bagent brought up that I found interesting was how from day one of the OTAs and the voluntary OTAs, they got quizzed immediately, and Caleb talked about it from day one, quizzing in the quarterback's room, the verbiage in the offensive playbook and how to call plays and what each word in calling plays actually means. And this is what he had to say about those quarterback meeting rooms early on.
It's been intense. I think at the beginning when he was doing those quizzes, it was kind of just like, putting somebody in a corner and pinning them there because we didn't really know what any of these words meant. And so just trying to put together a play call when you don't really know what each word means is kind of hard. But I think that just that act in itself was like, at least, for me, I can speak. It really, when I would go home, I would go straight into my iPad and try to figure all that shit out. So I think it served wonders for the quarterback room going down the line, just where, what the expectation is of, having to be on top of your every day that you walk into the building. So I thought it was great.
He would ask you, what would he ask you?
Yeah, each person one at a time go up to the front of the room, 3 plays in a row. JT would spit the play out to us, and then we would spit the play out and then go through our operation until we got it correct.
That's pretty interesting.
It's very interesting. But he's teaching them. End of sentence. He's teaching them. I think that is so important. This is a young, outside of Case Keenum, who I think what he said last week and his experience is so what was missing for them last year, even with bringing in such a young guy and Caleb Williams and Tyson Bagent and how that's going to work. And also, like Ben Johnson said, there is a competition there between Bagent and Keenum and who's going to be that QB2 or however you want to call it. But I think that's so important that they're being taught that it's not just a here it is and we expect you to, like, they're learning how. And when you have a brand new coach and a brand new coaching staff, that's the foundation. That's the point of this work right now, Peg.
Yeah. Well, it's you get a new playbook. There's new verbiage. There's new play calling. There's new words in the play calls that you have to learn. It's like a whole new language you're learning all over again. I just thought that was interesting, the way they taught them. You brought up Case Keenum. It's one of the things we talked about last year that was I think a glaring mistake by Ryan Poles not having a veteran quarterback in that quarterback room. And I talked to Ron Turner, former Bears offensive coordinator, about that. And he thought the same thing. He thought that the fact that there was no veteran there to show Caleb Williams, we look back now, whether it was film study or how to deal with, the losses, things like that. Having Case Keenum is huge. And Tyson Bagent had a very funny story about going to his first NFL game and Case Keenum was in the game. And he told us about the influence of having Case Keenum.
He's been in literally every single situation that a quarterback could be in. He's been in Austin's shoes, he's been in my shoes, and he's been in Caleb's shoes at one point or another. So there's all 3 of us, can ask him a question and expect a good answer just because he's been in that situation before.
It was really cool. He said that he went up to Case Keenum the first time he met him, and he was like, I was in high school, and my first NFL game was a Redskins game when Washington was the Redskins, and you came in relief and literally had your foot on the 6-inch line and drove the team 99 yards to a touchdown, and it was really cool. Before, I know we have to take a break, Dionne, but can we just hear Tyson Bagent did not disappoint in opening up his press conference and talking about his birthday plans coming up.
Me and my sister will be having a pool party, rented out the local water park, so 200-person limit. Let's roll.
What's the best attraction at the water park?
Oh, this is in Martinsburg, West Virginia. There is one diving board and one slide.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I love it. Remember last year, Peggy, what he did for his birthday? He did the
He did that
burpee long
workout.
jump for a mile, which I
God.
still think about that because it's so insane.
It's
It's so insane.
But he did say that they do have something like that planned for
Yes.
his buddy's birthday.
I can't wait.
So